Hello, everyone, and welcome to B.A.A.D.A.S.S Us. That's right, that's who we are. B.A.A.D.A.S.S Us Real Talk here on Vision and Purpose Media Productions. And tonight it's all about community. Community speaks. That's what we'll be talking about, and what a great way to start the show as we continue the celebration of Martin Luther King's Jr. birthday and the birthday holiday weekend and celebrations that's been going on all throughout the community this week. And I am so excited. Yeah, that's right, B.A.A.D.A.S.S Us. B.A.A.D.A.S.S Us Real Talk. We are women, beautiful, accomplished, and divine. Our brothers are accomplished and determined. Yet, as society see us, we must still change the narrative. And that's what we are. We B.A.A.D.A.S.S Us Real Talk here on Vision and Purpose Media Production. We be right back at you. Stay tuned.
Hello, my name is Tania McQueen. I'm the Residential Services Manager for Prestige Community Resources.
What our new facilities are respite centers. We're opening 2 in the city right now. Hopefully we'll expand to more. But respite centers are a place where people can come and get a little additional support with their mental health. Our one on Eastern Avenue is for men, and our one on Minnesota Avenue is for women. Our facilities are for all DC residents, especially focusing in on those in Ward 7 and 8. So they're really nice, and I'm excited for consumers to actually see them. What are the services that we're going to provide? Therapy, case management, medication management, all provided by professional staff, a licensed nurse practitioner, psychiatrists, sociologists, social workers, and then our paraprofessionals, our case managers. It's just a place where you can come and get the supports that you need to work on your personal goals, as well as to get your mental health straight. Simple, single adult, 18 years of age or older, a DC resident. You need to have insurance, but if you don't have it, it's okay. Still come, we'll work on getting you insurance. Have to have a negative COVID test, a negative TB test, and be willing to work on your mental health. For more information about respite services, you can contact us at 202-796-5000 or hit us up on our website at www.prestigecommunityresources.org.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to B.A.A.D.A.S.S Us. Yeah, that's right. That's who we are. B.A.A.D.A.S.S Us Real Talk here on Vision and Purpose Media Productions. And as we do, got to introduce the team. So, Rasheen, are you ready for tonight? So we have Rasheen White in the house. Yay! Yes. We have Marjorie Militant. Yes. And we have a special guest sitting in with us tonight, candidate Nakia. Right. Yeah. So we got is it right? Is it wrong? Did you hear 2 rights?
2 rights.
Yeah,
Oh,
2
right.
rights.
It's
Never
right.
make it wrong. So that was our inside joke we was doing before coming on air. We just realized we got 2 rights in the house tonight. So guys, we're gonna jump right into it. This is a great topic as we was talking about community speaks. This is definitely your week, your topic. You love talking about the great things that go on in the community. And what a way for us to continue to talk about us just finishing celebrating Martin Luther King Jr. weekend and the birthday holiday. So, and it's just an honor to just even have a platform here, guys, that we can sit here and talk about it and talk about the positive things that we know that happen in our community. Right. And even back in far as the Martin Luther King days and still just constantly growing. So I am going to let you lead off. So I just want to just say, who is he to you, and what does that mean to our community? So.
Yeah. Thanks, Karen. I mean, Martin Luther King, he meant a lot in our community. He was one of those that was often talked about when we were in elementary school, growing up, especially us being, young enough. Remember him growing up, being taught about him. Of course, the holiday was already etched in stone for many of us at a certain age. So, we learned about Martin Luther King at an early age. But I think that, we've been able to get deeper over the years and to talk about how he built coalitions, how he's able to build the movement. Here it is, a Baptist preacher with a dream and a vision, but able to build like this multiracial, multi-ethnic, multi-gender coalition back in the 60s. I mean, for me, it's like he was the fundamental coalition builder. He was able to build coalitions to actually get voting rights passed. And bring light to so many issues that are so important in our community, that has been historical in our community. A lot economic issues. He's one of the ones who highlighted that voting rights is not just not about race; it's about economics. A lot of times it is it hurts those who policies are put in place that hurt those who are, who have less economic privileged, who are a part of the disadvantage economically. So, Martin Luther King for me is like that superstar coalition builder. I think that everyone wants to, emulate as they want to try to pass any type of legislation, pass law, or even bring awareness to an issue.
Yes. I say that, for me, yes, definitely that. All the things that you said, because, I wasn't even born yet, and but it's around the 60s, right when I was born, and and just growing up in school, we used to sing his little theme song in school, and I just remember always getting teary-eyed. And this one girl in our class, she used to always cry when we sung that song, and just learning the history of him, just only of course, in the month of February, it's the only time they let us hear the history of him in school. But just to take it further for myself, I just looked at him as a hero. He was a hero, to be able to, back in that time and day, for me to be able to go forward and just have that vision and dream that he's going to make a difference, but be the peacemaker while doing it in peace and in grace and in decency and in order, as God would have him to do, and that was just important to me, to see that, and now relating it to where we are today, because like I said, I have a thing with mainstream media, sometimes always perpetuating the situation and making us look like we all just evil, bang, bang, shoot them up. But here we have a man that stood for peace, nonviolence, and today we have still so many great leaders such as yourself and everyone on this platform that still lives up to that and go into the community and do just that. We come in peace, and so, and then when the movie Selma came out, it just that is one of my favorite all-time movies, because it gave me a chance to just relive that and understand the history of him even more. Like you say, here we had a regular citizen was able to stand up for our rights and go and sit down and have the conversation at the table with our president, for our right to vote, for all these things that you had said, Rasheen. So for me, it's just he's our hero. He's just in the Black community, he definitely looked at as a hero. Yeah. So
and although we have always had people stand up for our communities, from slavery times to regular citizens, as you spoke of, but he was really the first national figure who stood up for peace and for freedom and for rights. Yes. So that was a big thing.
Yes, it was. Yes.
When you think of him, you think of the civil rights era. He's the face, one of the first face that you envision. When you think of desegregation, he is one of the faces, one of the first faces that you envision. And he's one of the ones that embody what the Bible says, is there not a cause? He knew that his purpose was to be a change maker. Right. And he did it. He did it at the cost of his family. He did it at the cost of his life, and he did it in peace. He didn't have to tear down anyone to be heard, to be understood. He was a champion for marches and protests and boycotts. He let his work be heard, and people followed him because he was a leader. He led by example. He was a man of his word. He was full of action. And to me, I echo your sentiments. He'll always be a hero for me, my grandchild, and the ones coming behind her, which is why we do what we do, so that we're leaving an impact for a legacy that's coming behind us. That I hope that the changes that we make, my grandchild and your grandchild will not have to fight the same things that he fought in 1964, and we're still fighting them today.
We can't allow ourselves to stop doing what we're doing just because we are not a Martin Luther King Jr.
Absolutely.
You know, every little bit of work that we do in our communities counts.
Yes, anything positive that we do in our community counts, and just helping his what he stand for, like the famous speech. You know, every time I hear it, just rings through me, even still today. You know, that just is something to say them words and have it be that powerful. You know, everybody in our community that are doing great things, we live by that speech. We honor that speech. We want to be the speech, you know, and being the speech is continuing the community. I know, you know, we have a candidate here that's now running for office. We have an advocate here for our community, and also help candidates to formulate their platform, and making sure that we stay above, you know, and just know what we need to be doing. You know, Marjorie, you know, just the spoken words that you give, you know, just always in ministry, just wanting to lead with grace, you know, and everything. So we are still living his famous speech. We are still living the dream. What you say, Rasheen?
Yeah. I mean, one of the things too is that, you know, Dr. King was a very young man when he was he was leading this movement.
I know. I couldn't realize when you're a child, you don't realize how young he really was. Yeah. Now that I'm grown, I'm like, yes, you're right. I'm sorry, I ain't been.
No. I mean, and then you got to figure out the challenges that he went through to actually organize around the South. He had to deal with his elders, who probably weren't going to be led by a young man in his 30s, his late 20s, early 30s, who had a vision, you know, and the courage to actually challenge them in their theology from years and years and years of teachings. You know, he had to deal with the racists, you know, that were constantly in his face, you know, with the dogs, tear gas, punching, hoses, the lynchings, you know, and then he had to deal with internally, you know, the people that didn't think he could do it, or the people who were jealous, you know, of what he was trying to do, or didn't see his vision, you know. But then also, you know, the courage that it took to actually step out there when others wouldn't do it at all, you know, is just phenomenal. But then he also was flexible enough to still be mentored and taught.
That's good.
You
That's
know,
true. Talking good.
You know, I mean, you can't talk about Martin Luther King without talking about Asa Philip Randolph, who was really the godfather of the whole March on Washington. It was his brainchild, and Dr. King was the face.
Yes.
But also, you know, B.A.A.D. Who was my frat brother, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated.
Oh, go
But
ahead.
also-
No, throw that shout out. It's not a shout out. It's just a mention.
Yeah, but no, also someone who was able to mentor Dr. King and really teach him the spirits of organizing. So, you know, it's so many great facets to that movement. And Dr. King was such a great messenger, visionary, and deliverer of the message for the masses. But, you know, I think it points out today that there's still a role and an opportunity for folks in their 20s, folks in their teens, and folks in their 30s to really come up and continue the tradition that he set.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
You said something that's so key about the characteristics that that he embodied, but I hope I get this name right. But one thing that he had was the ability to hear. So we all talk about the dream, you know, the speech, I have a dream. But it's the Karens and the Mahalia Jacksons that said that at a time when he was not even prepared to give that speech. And Mahalia Jackson from the audience said, tell him about the dream, Martin. You need those people behind the scenes that push you, because she was the one that pushed him to change the trajectory of where we are today. And for forever, our kids will hear, I have a dream that
That's
one
very
day.
true.
And it was her, the Karens, behind the scene, pushing us out front to be what it is, to do what it is, and to say what it is that we need to hear to be the difference.
Oh, yes. That's powerful. Go on, girl.
That is very powerful.
Preach, girl. Preach. You know, that's that first lady up in her. Yes, I hear it. I hear it. Yes, first lady.
And one of the things you said was that he was listening also, not just speaking his dream, but listening to the Karens, to the Mahalias, listening. And that's something that's an example for our young people today. That's, you can't fight a fight that no one wants you to win. And when I say no one, I'm talking about the people who don't want us to win. So sometimes we have to stop and be quiet and listen and wait to speak.
Yes. And I gotta say, in Rosa Parks, you know, we gotta throw her in there. We mentioning that, and you know, and I tell you, it's just our history. It's good to know. And matter of fact, you know, when we did the walk this last March, we did the walk to Selma to Montgomery. It was just amazing. Along that path, we had a chance to stop and go past the house where they still keep her apartment to this day. And put a face up there. So, and you know, it's just, that was just powerful for me to be able to walk in the steps. And I said, I wonder, I'm going to write a book about my journey on that, because I felt very powerful walking in the footsteps of my ancestors, you know. And so it's, guys, that was just powerful. But we're going to hear from a voice from the far that's going to come out and help me speak on that a little later. But I just wondered, while we was talking about the powerful, you know, people, you know, I just got to make sure I mention her as well. Rosa Parks was a big part of that. And, you know, and before we knew her as the person that wouldn't, you know, get up and move her seat, but she was very active in the back scene way even before then. But that moment just what made her come to the forefront. But it's the support system that's in every strong leader and what they do. It's the support system, the team that they have behind them that really just help shape them and mold them, you know. And like you said, Rasheen, because here you have this young man, you know, how you move the elders, because back in that days, you know, they stick to their guns about, oh no, we better not be going to start no fuss, you know. So and then how you get them on, and then, you know, and you leading people of your age, and then and the younger generation to believe in the purpose and have such a strong support system. I think that's everything. And then, you know, and for the main thing is, you know, we all know fighting for that famous right for us to vote. And so, you know, and not to take that moment to be voting now, you know.
In 2022, we are fighting for a voting bill.
Yes.
After all that we've been through, after all that we've accomplished.
Exactly.
Yes. And yeah, so I definitely, no, to finish what you were saying, no, I was just communicating with the backstage for a minute.
No, I was just sharing the fact that how life comes full circle, and how, you know, we drive these fancy cars and we live in these big houses, and we are entrepreneurs, and we have a voice on a level, on a platform that we've never had before. I mean, in a time where we have the first African-American woman as the vice president, and now we're fighting to pass legislation on voting rights in 2022.
But that's why we can never get lost in who we are.
Yes,
don't get lost in your position. Don't get lost in your money. They are always still fighting to make sure we cannot do things like vote.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about the John Lewis Voting Rights Bill, which is currently threatened by the filibuster in the U.S. Senate. You know, and I think it's incumbent on us to really reach out to our U.S. senators. Of course, the ones here in Maryland are supportive of the bill. We don't need to move Senator Van Hollen and Senator Cardin, but we do need to move their colleagues into supporting this bill. And, in certain places in this country, they've shrunken down the polls in the precincts somewhere you can vote. So there's a larger amount of people that that attend one particular precinct, and so therefore, if there's a large voter turnout, you can have long lines. There are things in state laws across this country that prevent you from getting water if the line is long. Imagine standing in line for like 2 to 3 to 4 or 5 hours just to vote.
Right.
And you can't get water. Someone can't give you water.
Can I just add to that, Rasheen? If you do nothing, they win.
Yes,
Right.
yes,
If
yes.
you don't
Exactly.
contact your local senators regarding this bill, they win. We have to own our voices. Action produces results. If we do nothing, they win.
Yes,
Exactly.
and as we go into this commercial break, that's a good point. And I want to come back to that because, like I was saying, as we was walking, and just knowing that our people was getting turned down and wasn't having the right to vote, it was just something. And I just said from this point on. And then, because along the walk, if you all, mostly our fans out here, if you did the walk to Selma, to Montgomery, they have like just stopping points along the way where you can read the history. So I knew in 1965 that this is when they did the walk, and they attempted more than once, and before they finally was able to make it and complete it. But when I saw the plaque and saw the people and from that time in history, and they were saying at that time, 1965, that it was 25,000 people that went and walked with him. So imagine back in 1965, that's like 1 million people, like a million man march.
Right.
I was like, wow. So it was so impressive that in 25, that would be the 60th year anniversary in 2025. It's his 60th year anniversary. So we made a pact that we want to recreate that. So Crystal, and Crystal was there. She's coming from the back. You'll just hear her voice. She was our engineer, and she was the photographer and videographer there. And we want to do a documentary on this. So, and Kristen, please give people our information if they want to be a part of this movement, because in 2025, we will recreate that, and we're asking for 25,000 or more to come join us. We had our first meeting about this on yesterday. So, Kristen, can you give your perspective on how it was when you did this journey and this walk as we go into commercial break?
Yes. Well, yeah. Hey, everyone from the back. This is your girl Chris, and as Karen said, I did the walk with the team, and it was about 11 of us. And I must say that as one of the younger people, it was very inspirational, and it was very impactful. And I wish like more people were there to experience it. So much so that I took my son, who's 10, and my nephew, who's 9, back down there in September, because I homeschooled them, so I wanted them to experience this. And it's so funny because I took them we went to Atlanta, and then we went to Alabama. So we talk about Martin Luther King. Those are his roots. They got to see the church, his father's church. Then they got to see his home in Alabama. Just to be in the places physically where these things happened gives it a whole different perspective. And so, I want to encourage everyone to join us for the 20, when is it again, Karen?
2025.
2025.
Yes, and if you want to be a part of the planning process,
Yes.
we are in the planning stage now. Please reach out and contact us. Krista, give them the Gmail address.
Yes, okay, I'll
that
give
one?
them the Gmail address. You can join us. Make sure you send an email to V&P Media Productions @gmail.com. That's the letter V and spelled out AND, the letter P, Media Productions with an S @gmail.com, and just put in the subject MLK Walk, Selma, anything like that, and we will know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes, and thank you for that. And Rasheen, we're going to come right back and let you just finish your comment. And you're listening to B.A.A.D.A.S. Us here on Vision and Purpose Media Production. We'll be right back at you. See you on the other side.
push. We are determined. We are divine. We are of greatness. That's right, the Black community. Badass us. Who are we? That's right. Who am I? I am the person committed to building the next community movement. What about you?
Yes, welcome back to B.A.A.D.A.S.S Us. Yes, that's right. That's who we are. B.A.A.D.A.S.S Us, Real Talk. And you be missing the behind the scenes when we are commercial break. Miss Right over here, she ain't playing with it, okay? So, Rasheen, I'm going to let you finish your thought before we go into our next segment. Because we all going to get that bus together and we going down, right? Yeah. So.
You know, I was just more so talking about the fact that Dr. King had this coalition of folks who are actually willing to give their lives for voting rights.
Right.
You know, we were talking about it on the break, you know, about the sacrifice.
Yes.
And our people, our elders like Dr. King and some of those leaders back then, they paid the ultimate sacrifice. I mean, knowing that you were actually going to die for what you believed in, for the advancement of your people.
Right.
That's one of the biggest sacrifices, especially when you know it, you know, and having the courage to stand out there is something that you don't see as often in many of our leaders today.
Right.
Of course, there's a current, totally different environment. You know, it's similar, but it's more modern. But I think there is plenty of opportunity for, you know, young leaders to be developed,
Right.
just like Dr. King was. He can still be that he can still be that beacon for a lot of young leaders. You know, knowing that someone in their 20s had a vision in their early 30s to create a national movement like this. And when we're talking about voting rights, one of the things, and we're talking about the current John Lewis voting rights bill, which is being stalled in the Senate and is threatened by the filibuster, it's important that we continue the drum and continue to know the importance.
Yes.
It's not as directly in our face anymore, mainly because we can still get our voter ID card and still go to the polls.
Right.
So when you talk about voting rights, many people will be like, what? You know, I can still go and vote. You know, so we have to continue to beat that drum, to let them know that there still are challenges in the state law. There's still challenges in federal law that people of color will have people of color and those with less money will have those challenges and not have what's needed to actually be able to vote freely.
I want to piggyback on something you said. I'm going to, follow in the footsteps of Rashim. I am a candidate running for county council. And my word is, my sentence, my slogan, the one that I own is, I'm preparing for tomorrow by doing the work today. And when we look at our youth today, we say they don't possess the same passion as the Dr. Martin Luther Kings had back in the day, and I beg to differ. They do possess the same passion. However, they'll die for their block. But they won't. We have to take the passion that they have for what they believe in and direct it for something that has purpose, so that rather than dying for your block, you live for the legacy coming behind you. And every person that's listening to this message today, if you don't have an African American young man or African American young lady standing next to you, share this message with them. Make sure they know that their history, and give them they already have the passion. Put them in front of someone that can take that passion and structure it so that for leadership, that they stand in the gap, they follow in our footsteps, and they make the change that we need to see for those that's coming behind us. Right. They have the passion. It just needs to be structured and directed in the right places.
And as I said before, that's our job as leaders, to make sure that they hear that message. We can't forget by getting lost in our privilege.
Yes, come on now, Mike.
So in not forgetting, we can't forget those that you said will stick, they'll stand up for their block, but they won't come off their block to vote. They won't come off their block to learn. So it's our job to take that message there.
Yeah, and that's how we honor, and that's how we really honor Dr. King's dream and his legacy.
Right.
One of the token issues at that time was voting rights, but we also got to understand our responsibility. Here, just even in Maryland, we have to get prepared to vote in June. And
June 28th, 2022.
and
Yes.
a lot of times we don't have the numbers of folks, in a population in a county which has a population of about 1 million people. Less than half of that actually go out and vote each election cycle.
Right.
So there's an issue there, where there's apathy where people don't want to vote,
Right.
or people not knowing how to vote or not knowing where. So it's incumbent on us as leaders and the responsibility to carry on that Dr. King's dream
Exactly.
is to constantly keep beating that drum to make sure that people still go to the polls and exercise their right to vote. It's how we put some of the best people in the office. It's how we vote for the best policies for our communities, and having people who have the agenda that we want to push for a better and wholesome and inclusive community, livable, walkable, healthy community. We have to exercise our right to vote, and it's so important.
Yeah. So and you all know what I say. Let your vote be your voice. Because we have to. And then I like what you were saying, Miss Wright over here, that we definitely have to make sure that we do exercise our right to get behind these young people, to let them know, because now you got to just sometimes meet them where they are. And not because I know we want to beat them over the head and pull them up to where we are. And it's nothing wrong with us being old school. We from the old school. That's how they look at us. And so we have to see it through their eyes. They in this new modern generation here. And you say we in a modern time, in this new modern generation where they got devices. Now, they just talk through their devices.
But what's important though there is that it's important that folks our age and above share the stories, because a lot of times they don't really hear the stories and don't really hear the challenges. And a lot of times when they don't know the history and haven't heard the stories, then they don't know how to go about and accomplish the things that we really need them to accomplish.
Right.
It's like a lot of these stories are held back and haven't been told, by, say, the local pastor who's in the community who marched and fought. Those are so many stories that can tell that actually help cultivate new leaders.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. And we have to do that. And that's why I was saying, meeting them where they are. Sometimes we know the devices are day two. So how can we just get something, starting to share things and let them be a part of that? Helping us, we can share, like you said, share the story. And then I think how we can get their intrigue and their mind going is we let them create a way to put it on the devices and get it out to how they are used to communicate and conversate. Just like we have a young Isaiah, we have a young engineer in the back now that's in his 20s. And so he's hearing this message. How can we then further talk to him to see what else can we do to get it to his generation? And then I think the other thing is we need to get back to what our parents did. I know my mom made me go and had me to go to sit in these places where they had these conversations. I had to go to the homeowner association meetings with her. I had to go to the neighborhood gathering. And when you're young and you get a chance to be in the room and hear it, then it really does. It makes you think differently. You're still going to be a kid and you're still going to do what you do, but it puts something on your mind, and it have you to see it from a different perspective when you are allowed to be a part of the conversation.
And oftentimes you said something that's good, your devices. You look at what's happened during the pandemic, and we had a huge Black Lives Matter movement. And it started on our devices because we seen a video that frustrated us to move. And you just have to take that. Rosa Parks, she worked behind the scenes, but we didn't know her till she was so frustrated that she didn't get up out of her seat. So you can be frustrated about life, and frustration can lead to a purpose that changes the world. So let your purpose, let your frustration lead to a purpose that defines who you are as a leader. You can have the zeal, you can have the zest, but if you don't have knowledge, information, and structure, you won't be a successful leader. So let's just not have a movement. Let's just, as you said, let's cultivate leaders out of frustration. Find somebody that's doing something, get behind them and get with them. Don't try to be better than them. Watch them. The greatest thing that you can do in your goal to be great is to watch someone else that's great. You become, if you want to know who you're going to be in 5 years, look at who you are around. You become who you are around.
You're a product of your environment.
Absolutely.
But look what Dr. King did. Dr. King studied and he emulated Mahatma Gandhi.
Right.
You know,
Yes.
he saw that person, even sought him out, you know, and used his tactics that were very effective to actually shed light to the reason for people of color to get out there and vote.
Right.
You know, and to
Very
pass
good.
voting rights.
Very true.
Got him into the White House in a meeting with the president,
Absolutely.
you know, to pass these bills.
Oh, yes.
You know, so I
Got
think
him that
there's,
seat at the table, right?
yeah, but also I think it's important, you know, for us as cultivators of, you know, the message is, you know, making sure that we have the messenger, the right messenger and the right message to actually motivate folks to an action.
Right.
You know, Dr. King was the right messenger for the time.
Yes.
And when he spoke and delivered his message, there was action.
That's good.
You know, I think we're still searching for that one messenger, but I don't think, and nowadays with our devices, I think there's so many messengers
That's what I
now.
was going to say.
You know, there's so many
Right.
messengers now.
Messengers.
Yeah.
Right.
We just got to be, we
Yes.
just got to be open and ready and willing to receive.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes,
Exactly.
yes.
That's
Exactly.
good.
Yes, and I think, you know, Marjorie, you can help me with this one. Just staying mindful of our givings. You know, I think it also that is a big part of it, you know, because if you really want to know what's going on in your community and want to hear the real truth, you got to
Right.
be out in it.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
very
You
true.
have to do
Very
You got to
true.
be out in it, because if you really want to know what the people is feeling and what's going on, you have to be out in it. And that's why, you know, even now, even tying it into our local election, thank you. And thank you for what you said. You know, in Prince George's County, we have almost 1 million people here, but like Rasheen said, only a percentage of that come out and vote. And
Less
then
than half.
Yes, less than half. And then that less than half is majority of the women. And we, you know, but I always say this, but we constantly voting to put men in office. It's time to have, you know, listen to these women candidates, know who they are, you know, because it's a lot of them that out here that are able to have that seat at the table. But again, y'all heard me say this on Friday. If we don't raise a certain amount of money, or if you don't, and especially women, men, we put vote in office, they can look a certain way, they can be big, they can be large, they can be this and that. But if a woman is running, why is we judge still on our set? Oh, she don't comb her hair, or she don't have the look, she don't have the body type, she don't wear certain clothes or whatever. Why is that? You know, is the reason why I should be voted in or not, you know. And half of the time you won't get the chance to know me, you know. Or even like that, she's a pastor's wife, because, you know, let's talk about that part, because it's still taboo. You don't post, if you're serving the Lord, you don't supposed to run for office. Why? Who said so?
Some of
school thinking.
our first black elected officials are all pastors.
Yes,
Right.
that's what I'm
Right.
saying.
How many
Come
pastors
on
are now serving on the federal level?
Exactly.
It's time.
Right.
It is time for us to change the trajectory.
Yes,
It is time for
to
us
break that stereotype.
to break the stereotype and to bridge entities on all levels.
Yes,
Um, leaders are birthed from unexpected places, and we
Exactly.
keep electing the same people in office, expecting something different.
Look
Yes,
the
you and
same,
Rashawn
have the
was
same
talking about
message.
that.
No
Yes,
change.
Yes,
No
yes.
change.
You and Rashawn was talking about that before we even came on air, and that's it. And then, because, I'd be like, God, when is they going to retire? Let the seat go. Go enjoy yourself now. And we got to know when it's time to pass that baton, because we'll hold on to the thing until it just like, okay, snatch out your hand to the next person. And we got to stop doing that because we figuring they young, they haven't paved the way or whatever. But just remember when you was young and hungry, somebody had to give you a chance or opportunity. And that's what we have to do with our future leaders, our first time candidates, don't knock them just because they just their first time and they are new, or you don't see that they have paved the way long enough. They'll never pave the way if we don't
give
get
them a
behind
chance.
them and allow them the opportunities.
One of the things that we have to realize when you're running for office is that you're not running to win. Because there is a high attached to a win that most politicians never lose. When you run for office, my motto is run to be elected. When you're running to be elected and you're chosen, you never forget who put you there. People are addicted to the power. You're not addicted to the power. You're committed to the call.
Right. That's right.
So, and Rasheen, before we go to break, that was powerful. What you got to add to that?
Oh, no, I was just saying those are great points. I don't know how I could top that. With,
You say, go leave it to me, Karen.
But I think if you're wanting to be a leader, it's one to you be okay with following, be okay with being a servant,
Yes.
or be a servant leader.
Right.
Yes.
And know what you're representing. Know the people that you're representing. Know the office that you're seeking. Know the responsibilities of that office. How that office can actually change the lives of the people in the local communities, which is important.
Right.
Yes.
We do have a lot of folks who want to run because they do like the power. They're enticed by the power, but not really knowing what it takes to actually hold the seat, what it takes to really educate the local community,
Right.
what it takes to make sure that the community is served properly.
Correct.
Those are like big responsibilities that an elected official actually has to have.
Yes,
A lot of
yes.
people are unprepared, and we do have a lot of young ones too that are unprepared and really don't know what it takes to really deliver.
Right.
But there's a lot of opportunity that we can have to continue to cultivate new leaders.
And you don't run to fight.
No.
If you're running to fight, you'll never get anything accomplished if you're elected through fighting.
Yes,
You have
yes.
to run to be able to sit at the table and negotiate,
Right.
to talk a matter through, to be an effective communicator. Because if you're a fighter, you'll never be able to accomplish what people voted you in for.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can't
That's
believe
true.
it's time for us to go to this next break.
there's no perfect legislation. It's always something that's going to be some type of give or take.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, we get ready to go to this next break. And one thing I wanted to say, we got to continue, first of all, as we move into this new wave that we need to be in to continue to put these leaders in office, we need to continue to build the trust in the community. Build the trust in the community because it's broken. And we have to come back and build that trust in the community. So you're listening to B.A.A.D.A.S.S Us here on Vision and Purpose Media Production. See you on the other side.
It is key that you mind your mental health.
Hey guys, how's everyone doing this week?
Hi.
Use the 5 keys to mental movement.
It's been a really monumental week for me. I realized that I was not being myself.
Reaching out.
Be positive attitude person self, like you guys know me to be. I was
Staying
listening to
upbeat.
teaching and get back to that happy, cheery self you guys of me.
This week's been kind of
Being
stressful
creative.
because of all of the workload that we have on online learning. So I've been trying to use different platforms and different websites to help ease my mind and ease my stress.
And what about you, Margaret?
Well, you guys know me. I just love to work with others and serve them.
Serving others.
Realize that when I serve others, my mind is off of myself.
That's right. And don't forget, self-care is key.
Self-care.
All right. So see you guys next week.
Right.
Bye.
Your mind matters.
Okay, welcome back to B.A.A.D.A.S.S Us, B.A.A.D.A.S.S Us, Real Talk here on Vision and Purpose Media Production. I'm glad you got to be on the other side of these commercial breaks. Yeah, our engineer team got to be like, okay, 10. So give us a countdown for real. But no, that's good stuff, Rasheen. You are so right about that. And this is the time that we love. You know, we always got to close with what? Our inspirational moment. So this is the time that Marjorie give us our inspirational moment. So we are having the Inspiration Within with Marjorie Militant.
Okay. The Gospel of Luke 10 is the story of the Good Samaritan. He's a man who's traveling from Jerusalem to Jericho. And while traveling, he was accosted by some bad guys on the street. He got beat up, he got robbed, and he just picked himself up and kept on moving. So he didn't seek revenge, he kept on moving. And the moral of the story is to put your disappointment and differences aside. Claim that freedom and minister freedom in return. In Luke 10, 2 through 3, it says, he told them, the harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Ask the Lord of the harvest, therefore, to send out workers into his harvest field. Go, I am sending you out like lamb among wolves. So in the world, there's always going to be bad things going on. There's always going to be discord. There's always going to be disagreements. There's always going to be people who don't want to vote. But we have to go out there and work and work and work. We have to go out there and make sure that people know the message, make sure that people hear the message. And that's what our job is. That's what our calling is. And in order to do that, we just have to continue to go out and deliver the message and go to the neighborhoods where people are not hearing the message. Go to the, your senior citizens in your neighborhood. Go to your churches. If they're not talking about the things, like Rasheem said, if they're not talking about the old stories, encourage them to talk about them. If, people don't know the history of our people, teach them that.
And nobody coming out to your association meeting, go knock on them doors.
Exactly.
Or, get some milk and cookies. Invite them to the meeting.
Yes,
I mean,
that always works.
Yeah,
If
that's
you
an
got,
easy thing.
Free food there.
Yeah.
Yes, but this on that passage, I'm going to come to the First Lady. What do you think about that?
You said something that was so key. Go out like lambs.
Lambs.
And if you look and you think about the attributes of a lamb, the first thing that you think about is peace.
Right.
We're coming through a time of a pandemic. We're on the heels of an insurrection after having a tumultuous 4 years of a certain presidency. We forgot what peace felt like. I honestly thought that this election cycle and this time in the earth, that after you've been in a pandemic and quarantine for months, that when you had the opportunity to come outside and interact with people, because we're wired for connection, people was in the house alone and they were going crazy, that we would have an appreciation for humans because we were without them for so long.
Yes.
And we're living now in a time where mental illness is at an all-time high. I just feel like we should learn difficult lessons the first time so we won't have to keep repeating difficult moments in history. And you said something that's so key. The harvest is plentiful. We were all called and designed to do something in the earth.
Exactly.
Find out what your thing is and do that thing.
Exactly.
There's
Do it well.
so much for all of us to do. There's work for everyone who's living and breathing to do. Find out what your thing is and do it. Don't look at what I'm called to do, and because it looks so attractive, you want it. You'll die because I was graced for it. You weren't.
Exactly.
So do what you were called to do, and the world will be a better place.
Yes.
And,
I love.
I was just going to quote Martin Luther King Jr. again.
Yes.
All labor that uplifts humanity has dignity and importance and should be undertaken with painstaking excellence.
Yes.
Wow. So how do you top that? You don't. You know that is true. If you look at what you were saying about the harvest and then the lamb that's what we were saying on Martin Luther King and put it all together. And that's what we have to do. We have to continue to work and come in peace. And I know you get greater work done when you come in peace and when you come in the will of God and the will of what His purpose is for you. And that's how you can stay and withstand the times, you know. So when it's like it is now, we are in, you know, uncertainty times with the pandemic and everything, and mental health is just on the rise because, you know, we fear the unknown, and we should not, because when you're strong in your belief in what it is that you still have to do and what your purpose is to do, you do that. You know, and I was just telling my girlfriend, we was talking about this last night, and sometimes we still have to know that we have to be strong and stay the course even in the struggle of our blessing. Let me say that again. Even in the struggle of our blessing, we have to stay the course and know that, you know, that this is what and God should have us to do. You know, He need worker bees like us to know that and know His strength and know who He is, to continue this journey and continue to, you know, as I say, build that trust among one another.
And no matter what's going on, we can minister to promote freedom. And that's our job.
Yes. And we all, and I'm telling you, that's what we're doing now by speaking positive word and just want to be informative to our community. We are doing God's work. We are doing exactly what He wants us to do.
And we're stronger together.
Yes.
When we unite, we become an unstoppable force. When we unite, we cannot be defeated.
That's very true.
We have to unite. That's the secret weapon for victory, for a voting rights bill, for money in our communities, for voices, amplifying voices, for the economically challenged. We have to unite.
For mental health, all of it.
All of it.
Yes. Rashid?
No, I mean, throughout history, when we've seen groups of people unite, they've won. Especially unite
Wait a minute.
in good.
You're saying something now.
We're talking about Dr. King right now. He got a group of people to unite. We won.
Right.
But that was just that battle. We haven't won the war, which is still raging on. So
I like that. We haven't won the war that's still raging on. So let me come back and ask you then. So what do we have to do to stay fast on making sure that we starting to knock down some of that, to get some of this war behind us?
Vote for Nakia Alright on June 28th, 2022 for County Council District 6.
What's that?
I'm sorry, you want to talk to me? Oh, I apologize.
Look, what she tell Rashid earlier? Did she tell Rashid, are you just throwing that, that plug out there?
Look at that, Karen.
I'm sorry.
There's something about that seat.
Yes, because Belinda is not here with us, and there's something about this hot seat over here. Yes, it got energy, fireball. So tell us what district you're running for, Yes, here in Prince George's County.
Here in Prince George's County. Rashid, I'm sorry, I owe you dinner.
You good. I'll take that.
Oh, yeah, man.
And I'll take it too.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Baby, I'm going to be late tonight. District 6, if you live in Mitchellville, Capitol Heights, parts of Capitol Heights, Largo, Kettering, parts of Upper Marlboro, parts of Bowie, I am running to govern you. That is District 6. We are downtown Prince George's County. We are the mecca of our county. Yeah, it's a shameless plug. We're the mecca of our county, and we have a hospital here. We have the government building here. We are the change that we have transit-oriented development taking place right here in District 6. We have over 100,000 residents here, and we are the heart of Prince George's County. If we get clogged up in District 6, if you don't choose the right leader of District 6, it will affect all of Prince George's County. Do your homework. My name is Nakia Alright. I'm easy to find. Look me up online, NakiaAlright.online. Follow my page. Do your homework.
So
don't
where
listen
can they
to
find you?
Nakia, Nakia.
That's right.
R right. .online on my website. Write the number 4D6 on all social media platforms. Do not listen to anybody's opinions. Do your homework. Check the facts of those people that are running for office.
Yes, yes. And this is what it's about. Like you said, you know, we just got to just learn and make a decision for yourself, you know, but you can't make a decision when you don't vote or don't get the chance to know who the candidates are. As Dr. Dula even said on Friday when we was here, we were celebrating our, you know, new beginnings. It was such a blast in here on Friday. Oh my God, the house was packed. So yes, and as he said, if you're not voting and you think you know, it's still voting. You're still voting for someone. You're probably voting for that someone that we don't need in office. So when you're thinking that you're not voting, that you're not making a difference, you are. Your vote's still going to be counted. If you're not voting, that's still a vote.
And Karen, can I just say that one of the things that I noticed, and I said this on Friday, I'm not a resident of Prince George's County, but all of the residents that were here are accessible. So you can get to know them. She gave out all her information. So if you want to get in contact with her and learn more about her campaign, you can do that.
And if you want to get to know more about the Vision and Purpose Media Production, you can reach out to us as well. So, you know, it was just a selfish plug. I'm just okay, Rasheen, we're gonna wrap it up and let you have the final word. What you think about that?
No, I appreciate it. I mean, I think as we celebrate Dr. King, you know, we have to look deep into ourselves about what can we do, how can we make our community better, what ways we can make our community better. So I think there's like a lot of opportunities that we have and a lot of challenges, of course, but when we get that victory of whatever we're trying to do, whatever goal we're trying to accomplish, when we're trying to make our community better, when we get that victory, it'll be very sweet. But also there's plenty of work to do for all of us. And we have to keep cultivating our new leaders that are going to take that we have to pass the mantle to.
Right.
Yes, we shall overcome, guys.
We
shall
Oh, we will.
overcome. I wish I could sing.
I thought you were about to.
No,
that backup voice.
No, go ahead on the lead and I'll be the backup. Well, guys, you know, if nothing else, as we say, just learn your leaders and let's not talk about them only on their holidays or Black History Month. It's every day, every time that we are here and God breathe breath into our existence. We need to be for our community and be for the people. So wake up every day and just know that it's a blessing and strive to be in your vision and stay in your purpose. And that's what we all about here at Vision and Purpose Media Production. So until next time, you stay blessed and we see you next week. Same time, same bad channel, 7 p.m. here, B.A.A.D.A.S.S Us here on Vision and Purpose Media Production. Have a blessed one.
All right.
Thank you.
We got to do
Be
our
a leader.
That's right.
No, you know the way.
Yep.
Krista showed us the way last week.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.